Have you ever opened your banking app first thing in the morning, looked at your account balance, and immediately felt stressed? Maybe payday was only a week ago, but somehow half your money has already disappeared. You tell yourself you'll start saving next month. You'll start investing next month. You'll finally get serious about building wealth next month. But somehow next month never comes. And before you know it, another year has passed. Your income increased, your expenses increased, and your financial situation stayed exactly the same. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, millions of people are trapped in the exact same cycle. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The biggest difference between people who build wealth and people who struggle financially isn't income. It isn't intelligence. It isn't even opportunity. It's what happens during the first hour of their day. And today, I'm going to show you a simple 5 a.m. routine that can completely change your relationship with money, your productivity, and ultimately your future. Because here's what most people don't realize. Financial success is less about money and more about psychology, and psychology starts the moment you wake up. My name is Finlo, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of money and how everyday habits shape long-term wealth. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard but never getting ahead financially, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Now look, when most people hear 5 a.m. routine, they immediately think of billionaire CEOs, cold plunges, meditation retreats, and some guy on social media telling them to wake up before the sun because winners don't sleep. That's not what this video is about. In fact, I think a lot of morning routine advice is complete nonsense because waking up at 5 a.m. by itself doesn't make you successful. If that were true, every baker and airport employee would be a millionaire. The magic isn't the time. The magic is what the time allows you to do. And that's where things get interesting. Step 1, win the first financial decision of the day. Most people think their financial decisions begin when they buy something. Wrong. Their first financial decision begins the moment they wake up. Let me explain. Imagine two people. Person A wakes up and immediately grabs their phone. 30 minutes later, they've checked Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and somehow ended up looking at luxury vacations they'll never book. Person B wakes up and spends those same 30 minutes reviewing goals, planning their day, and focusing on what actually matters. Both people have spent $0, yet one person has already become more likely to spend money. Why? Because attention drives spending. Advertising companies spend hundreds of billions of dollars every year competing for your attention, not because attention is valuable, because attention eventually becomes purchases. According to numerous consumer behavior studies, exposure to advertising significantly increases purchasing intentions even when consumers believe they're unaffected. Think about that. You can literally become more likely to spend money before you've even brushed your teeth. So the first rule of becoming financially unstoppable is simple. Don't let marketers control your first thoughts of the day. Control them yourself. Step 2, spend 10 minutes reviewing your future. Now you might be thinking, Finlo, I already know I want more money. Sure, but do you know exactly what you're building toward? Because there's a huge difference. Researchers have repeatedly found that people save more when they feel emotionally connected to their future selves. Here's the problem. Most people treat their future self like a stranger. Imagine I told you, give me $100 today and someone you've never met will receive $1,000 10 years from now. You'd probably hesitate. Yet that's exactly how many people view retirement savings. A stranger, a future version of themselves they don't really care about. So every morning, spend 10 minutes visualizing your future. Not vague dreams, specific outcomes. A paid-off house, a 6-figure investment portfolio, financial freedom, no debt, the ability to help your family. Because when your future becomes emotionally real, your financial discipline becomes dramatically easier. The story that changed my perspective. A few years ago, I came across a story about two friends. Both earned similar incomes. Both lived in the same city. Both had similar opportunities. 10 years later, one had built significant wealth. The other was still living paycheck to paycheck. The difference wasn't luck, it wasn't intelligence, it wasn't inheritance. The wealthier friend simply spent years making slightly better decisions. Not dramatically better, slightly better. A little less spending, a little more investing, a little more learning, a little more planning. Those tiny differences compounded. And that's the most important lesson in personal finance. Compounding isn't just about money. It's about behavior. Why most people never become unstoppable. Here's what most people don't realize. The biggest obstacle to wealth isn't lack of knowledge. Most people already know they should save, invest, avoid debt, spend less than they earn. The problem isn't information. The problem is implementation, and implementation is psychological. People overvalue today, they undervalue tomorrow. Economists call this present bias. We naturally prefer immediate rewards over larger future rewards. That's why spending $50 today feels better than investing $50, even though the investment might become hundreds of dollars later. Your morning routine helps fight present bias. It creates space between impulse and action, and that space is where better decisions happen. Your 5 a.m. financial routine. So let's put everything together. Wake up, avoid social media, review your future goals, read for 20 minutes, exercise, track one financial number. That's it. No cold plunge, no expensive supplements, no secret millionaire hack. Just a system designed to improve the quality of your decisions. Because wealth is largely the result of decisions repeated over time, and better mornings create better decisions. Final thoughts. Look, the goal isn't to wake up at 5 a.m. forever. The goal is to become the type of person who intentionally designs their life instead of reacting to it. Because every day you're either moving closer to financial freedom or further away from it. There is no standing still. Small habits become big outcomes. Small decisions become large fortunes. Small actions become entirely different lives. The people who seem unstoppable aren't necessarily smarter. They aren't necessarily luckier. They've simply mastered the ability to consistently do what others only do occasionally. And if you start implementing even half of what we discussed today, I genuinely believe your financial future can look completely different a year from now. Remember, the psychology of money isn't really about money. It's about behavior, and behavior begins the moment you wake up. If you found value in this video, hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? And more importantly, is it helping your future or hurt?